Hi everyone, it's Nat here. Hope you're all doing well. I'm on for my second tutorial video using the goodies that I got from Globleland this time around. And today we're going to be using this set of dies, which as you can see I have taken apart. So I did call it like an envelope die set. You can make a few different styles of cards with these dies, but I thought that I would have a go at making some envelopes and writing spots for my journals with them. So we'll see what we can do with that today. So there are lots of dies in the set. I think it says it's a 5-piece set, but that's how it comes in 5 pieces, and you do have to take some of the bits apart. Now, I thought what I might try and do is recycle some of our old shopping bags. These are Coles shopping bags that I get when I do an online order. And I thought that'd make a good base for this project. So I'll just cut the side out and then die cut out of this. And I'm going to be die cutting the bigger outside shapes. So the die set comes with these sort of outer shapes. So as you can see, we've got a big rectangle there. And then we also have a smaller rectangle that would fit inside that big rectangle. So the bigger rectangle you can make your base with, and then you would cut your covering paper with the smaller rectangle. Or you could use them for all sorts of other things as well, of course, which is always handy. So what I'm going to do is cut my base pieces of the bag out of the bigger parts. Like this. So I've got all sorts of shapes there. I'm going to need a few of some of them. So I did get cutting some last night, as you can see here. Now, being an old shopping bag, there are creases in that, but I'm not going to let that worry me. So I do need a few more shapes there. So I'm going to cut some more out of that, and I'll show you as I do that. And then I'll get on with cutting the decorative top pieces as well. And so I'll cut down my paper bag. So I usually try not to damage the bags too much when I want to do something like this. But I have thrown out my other bags in the recycling the other day because I had too many. So these are the only ones I have, so they'll have to make do. So I just cut the thicker doubled up parts off, so I've got just some of the plain paper there from the shopping bag. And I can layer them up a couple of times if I want to do 2 of the one die, which I'm doing here. And they're cutting beautifully as always. Doing pieces for the base of some envelopes and that here. I won't do all of them with you because you'd be asleep before I finish the video. So I'm just doing a few to show you how well they're cutting. Then you've got the little hearts and other shapes as well that are in the die set. So I'm also cutting those out on my paper bag. Thought I'd cut one of each item out at least so I could then decide what I wanted to use. So now I'm cutting out some wallpaper, and I'm doing these with some of the base dies as well. I thought I'd make one envelope just with wallpaper and see how it turned out. I have stacks of wallpaper, so I'm always looking at ways to use it. Now here I have some wrapping paper. I collect lots of old used wrapping paper and new stuff that I find in second-hand stores and that. So I put 2 of those together to cut as well. I thought it would be maybe a good way to use those. And I'm using the smaller dies that were smaller than the base pieces so I could use the wallpaper to decorate the top of these. So with all the base pieces, I'm now going over them with some gesso. Just doing it 1 coat of gesso on both sides. I start by just doing it on the one side, and then when they're dry I turn them over and do the other side. So gesso dries really nice and quick, and it gives you a matte finish, and I find that when you ink the edges and that, it looks really cool. So it does look quite messy, but we're covering up a lot of it, so I find that it looks really nice once I've finished making them. Bit of a messy job, but I'm just using a glue scraper to apply that. So here I've got the base pieces that I cut out of just the wallpaper. And I'm showing you how I'd put them together as an envelope. So some of the pieces have some sort of, they look like perforated lines, and I assume that's where you score and fold. I also ink around the edges with a brown ink as well. I'm seeing how I'd stick them together on the big base piece that I cut. And there's the little flap that I folded over, and I'll be applying my glue to that to stick it to the base piece. And I do that with the top and the bottom piece to form the envelope. So you could stick the little flat piece on the inside or the outside of the envelope. I assume it depends on the look that you want. So then I'll do the same to attach the top. Then to finish it off, I just run glue down both the sides of the little pocket piece. And there's our envelope all finished, ready to use. So I just put it under something to flatten it out a bit because the wallpaper kept wanting to roll up on me. So here are my gessoed base pieces that I finished of the paper bag. And I'm folding the little bits over on the score line. Now, like I said at the start, I'm pretty sure the dies are to make a few different types of card bases. But I thought I'd create some ephemera pieces to put in my journal. I can add some writing spaces too. It's a neat way of recycling the paper bags and the wrapping paper and the wallpaper. So again, I'm just inking around all the base pieces. So I've got the back piece there, and then the two pieces which I've folded up the little flap that I'll be sticking to the base piece. So again, you could make an envelope out of this with the circular top. So you can't really tell that it's a paper bag anymore. I think it looks quite nice with the gesso on it. Could use white paint, but usually that has a glossy finish unless you get a matte one. And the gesso goes so far and it dries really quick, so I do like using that. So I've got the wallpaper that I cut, I want to decorate our base with. So they're the smaller dies that I cut that out with. I'm just sticking them down to their corresponding shapes. Then what I've done is grabbed some pages from a vintage little notebook that I had, and I've used the same dies that I used on the wallpaper to cut these out so that they'll fit neatly on the inside, and that'll add a whole pile of writing space. So with this, I would stick the base piece down to a journal page and leave it open at one end so I can slip a tag in. And then you'll be able to open up this section and have more writing space on your page as well. Now you can write on the gesso, so you wouldn't even need to add the writing paper, or you could do stamping or whatever you like in there. So I cut an extra rectangle out of my writing paper and my wallpaper, and I'm going to stick those together, and that'll make a quick little tag which we can slide down the top behind our envelope piece when we put it into a journal. Or you could just sit it in the envelope piece when you open it up as well. So you can see how you can use all the dies in the set to create other things. You don't have to make the complete envelopes or cards. So here I've got some more of the base pieces. Just gluing them together in the same manner. I folded over at the score lines again. Just sticking it together. And with this one, I want to do some covering with my wrapping paper. So this will be another piece that I stick to a page and leave open on one of the sides to be able to slip a journaling card behind. So I'm putting wrapping paper on the inside there at the back. So you could add a photo to that as well, and it would look quite nice when you open it up. Might add some writing paper inside, like a little booklet or something, and then close it up. And just adding the wrapping paper to both the rectangles on the outer there. Now, off camera, I did make another little pocket here, or envelope, using the backing paper that I gessoed and my other wrapping paper. And I'm showing you how I use the little pieces here. So I've just layered the heart up there. And I'm going to put that onto this side of the envelope as a closure. So it will help hold the flap down. So I'm just applying glue to the lower part of the heart and leaving the top unstuck so that we can put a little flap under it. And I'm going to do similar here with this circle that I've got. I'm just going to ink around the edge first. Then add some wrapping paper. Then I'll use that on the front of this card. So again, I just put glue on one side to adhere it to one side so we can still open this up once it's on our page. So now I'm going to do another closure with this other shape to put on the front of this envelope that we've made that has the tag that slips behind. And again, I just applied the glue to the bottom part so that the flap can slip in and out. Now with this one, my envelope is quite sort of thick, so I decided to thicken up my closure by adding it to some cardstock. So I just glue it down and then cut around it. Figuring out which way I like the look of it. Sometimes it helps me just to put a pen mark so I make sure that I don't get glue where I don't want it to stick. Here are my finished pieces using the fun dies that I got from Globleland. So thanks Globleland. I had a pile of fun with the goodies that I got this time around as usual. And I made this envelope with some wallpaper, just using the base dies. So it opens up like that. You could of course cut some more shapes out if you want to cover on the inside as well. Just some paper or something. I can decorate that more when I want to use it. I love the way it looks. And yeah, beautiful wallpaper. It looks so nice with the inking and it makes a really fun envelope there. So I used the same wallpaper for my next project. And I made this extra tag piece using the similar dies out of the set. So it's really good because you can use all the dies for different things if you like. You don't have to make up cards or envelopes or whatever with them. You can just use the dies or the hearts or the circles separately and they'd make really awesome tuck spots on your journal pages as well. That's what I love about sets like this. So you can cut out this rectangle, cut off the little flap piece and use that as a backing or make tags with it or whatever. So that's how I made this tag, and I just added a bit of lace to the top of it. Great writing spot. So like I said, this I would stick to a page. That's why I left the back blank. And we could just stick it down on the 3 sides so that we can still slip our tag behind. So it would sit like that on a page, then we'd be able to open this up. And we'd have a whole pile of writing space in there. But you could also add photos and do embellishment in there as well. So I think that'd be really fun to add to future journals. The next one I made, or the next 2 items I made, I used my wrapping paper. Now I have a lot of wrapping paper. I keep wrapping paper that I get, but I've also bought some big lots in marketplace hauls and at the op shop as well. So I do like finding uses for it. So I made this one. Again, I've got no backing on it because I would stick it to a page and probably leave it open on the side to slip a journal card in. You could use the same wrapping paper and background for your journal card. I've made the circle closure for that. And then this just opens up like that. Now you could add, which I might do, a bit of writing spot there or a picture. And you can write on these edges as well. You don't need to put paper on. The gesso you're able to write on. So that's another difference between your acrylic paint and your gesso. The gesso can be a lot more forgiving to write on with your pens. So that's a cool embellishment, and I love using the wrapping paper like that. And then this is the last one. Again, it's some wrapping paper, and I really like how vintage it looks. And I did back this, so this could go into a journal as a floating pocket. You could just put it in and put a paper clip on the page to hold it in there. Again, I've used one of the smaller pieces, the love heart, to make the closure. And so you just pull that out. And then you can fit something in there. And I really like how the shopping bag turned out with the gesso as well. You wouldn't know it's a shopping bag. Love the way it looks, and it's a great way to recycle them. So I had a pile of fun making those. And then you could add some stamps or whatever you like to this side, which I might do in the future. So that is what I made this time around for my second tutorial using this lot of goodies. So I hope you enjoyed that. The link to Globleland is down below, as is the individual link to the products that I've used, including the die set that I was using today. So go and check them out. There's also my code, which is Nat10. If you put that in on checkout, you can get 10% off of your order at Globleland, which is really cool. So take care of yourselves, happy crafting, and I will see you again soon. Bye.